Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons or the differences between inserting a sample waveform as a MIDI note, so triggering it from a drum kit, let's say, versus inserting that sample as an audio clip into an audio track. All right, so there's both are equally valid and both have, their advantages. So let's take a look. So I had one follower make a comment in a past video where I loaded up a sample as an audio file or audio clip into an audio track. The person said, you can just go ahead and assign that sample to a pad in a drum kit and just trigger it that way, and that way you can put effects on it, etc. And that is totally valid. You can do that, and that way you can trigger that sample whenever you want. It can be done both ways, and if you have it as an audio clip in an audio track, you can still apply effects to that audio track, and you could still adjust all the parameters, the volume, you can add effects, etc. But there are some differences between the two, and there's some things you can do with the audio file, with the audio clip, that I think you can't do with the drum trigger. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I'm in the main page right now. I have a fresh project here. Well, I actually got a couple of things on there. I already have my audio clip in here. Let's play it back. All right, my audio is actually the drums, and I added the keyboard on top. And but I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. Okay, how did I load up because the audio track, you can also record, line items in there. You can record a keyboard, a guitar, bass straight into the audio, but you can also embed a sample in there. And so the way I did that is the following. So you go to, I have a empty audio file here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press sample, my sample edit. You can't see it because it's out of the screen, unfortunately, but I have a sample edit button that I'm pressing, and here I can look for my sample of interest, and so I have a bunch of samples in the memory bank from various projects, and I want to go to this one right here. Here is the sample. Let me just go to all, and let's listen to it. There we go. So this is the sample that I'm going to take, and I am going to embed it into the audio track. All right, let's stop that. Going back to main. So from the audio, we're going to go to grid. Hit that grid button, and it's going to take you to this. It's like an edit page of the audio track. Okay, and there's this button here called browse samples. So you're going to go ahead and browse samples, and then you're going to look for your sample of interest, and this is the one that we had selected. And then I'm going to say you can audition it if you'd like. So that's the one, it's the correct one. And then I'm going to say do it, and it's going to pop it in there. And so there it is. And now while I'm in this grid window, I can perform various edits to it if I wanted to. Like I can edit the start, edit the end, and do various editing functions. But let's go back to the main page, and there it is in the audio track. And let's just make sure that we can hear it. I'm going to go ahead and mute the other one that I had. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. And there it is. Sounds good. We can go to the arrangement window, and it loops loops around. So that's looking good. I'm going to stop that. And right now, if I go to the arranger, we could see that in blue, there it is. So this is the audio track, audio 1, that we copied or embedded the wave of the sample waveform into that track. Okay, and it lasts for 4 bars. For the purpose of the video, because I'm going to do some manipulation of the audio track now, I'm going to go ahead and mute the keys because I'm not too concerned about that now. This is about the audio track versus the MIDI note. So I'm just going to go to pan volume and then hit mute on plugin 1, and then go back to my main page and go to the arranger. Okay, and so what are some of the advantages of having an audio clip in there instead of a MIDI note of the same sample? So one thing that comes straight to mind is if you were to click and hold on this track, you get these 3 choices: delete, mute, or reverse. Okay, not a lot of choices, but it's very interesting that it gives these options. So the mute, you can actually, if I hit that, it mutes the entire track. Okay, just if for whatever reason you don't want to hear a particular track, but you want to save it for later because you might use it again, you could just mute it. If I'm not mistaken, you can't mute a MIDI note, all right? Especially if it's a MIDI note that triggers a very long sample, all right? So let's unmute that. The other thing you could do, for example, is you can edit this. So if you, I don't know if you guys know, but there's this little arrow button here, and if I click on that, I can get the grid view as well, and do my editing from there, and I can still have the arranger view. So there's won't get into that now. There's some advantages from that, but let me go to the grid real quick and then just go to the edit tool where we can snip our audio track. So if I want to create a cut, like let's say right about there, and I can hit the cut, and now if we go back to the magnifying glass just to view, you could see that I have this cut, and now I can just select it basically cut it into 2 clips. And if I go back to the arranger, I can now select this clip and mute just that part, right? So now if I like this part but I want to mute at a certain point, it's going to mute, all right? And then I can unmute another section if I want. So you can play around with that as much as you want. If there's a snippet in an audio track that you don't like, you can, let's say I just don't want this portion here, then I can just mute that section, and then we'll mute this, mute that part. So I have just, a part of that sample muted. And this could be handy if there's like something that's clipping, or you can do this even like on a single waveform or a transient. So it's really practical. The other thing, so I'm going to go ahead and undo all of this. Undo. Okay, there we go. And go back to the arranger. And the other thing you can do, which is really cool, is you can reverse the audio clip to get that really cool reverse audio effect that you hear a lot in kind of more modern songs. I'm going to select, again, hold down, press on the clip, hold down, and I'm going to select reverse. And then I'm going to use my Q-Link. That's going to help me move my playhead, and let's take it from here. Press play. We're going to hear it, the audio in its original state, and then we're going to hear the reverse right now. And you could do that just for a small section. That was pretty cool. You can do that for just a small section and then come back to the original as well. So you can do all kind of effects. You can't do, as far as I know, you can't easily do the reverse with the MIDI note trigger. Okay. All right. So now let's go back and insert the same audio sample, the same sample, okay, from the sample pool. Let's insert that into a drum track and a drum kit. Right, so let's go back to the main window and select, click on our track, and I'm going to toggle. Again, sorry that it's out of view, but well, it might be in my other camera angle view, but I'm going to use the big dial and toggle up to an empty drum track that I had prepared. Okay, and then then I'm going to press sample edit again, and to get this page. And again, the sample is already here, but if it wasn't, you would just click up here. You would look for your sample of interest. And now, a couple of things, right? So we can assign this sample as is, without trimming, without chopping or anything, sample it directly to the pad of a drum kit. Or we can chop up the samples into different slices, and then apply those slices to the pads of a drum kit. And we'll do both. All right, so let's start with the chopping, just because it's easier for my process. So if you hit this trim button, so when you're in the trim mode, trim allows you to trim the beginning and the end of your sample. Okay. Let's say there's a I don't know. Let's say it's not starting at the spot that you want. You can bring that, and then you can actually, by going to process, you can actually discard the trims that you're not using and just keep the central part of it. There's a whole bunch of different functions in the processing. I won't go over them right now, but I invite you to check them out because very, very useful. Oh, actually, right here, you can reverse. Yeah, okay, so I take back what I said before. You can process a sample waveform in the process function and reverse it. Okay, so you don't have to do that just in the audio. Anyways, let's go back. So I'm going to say cancel this. Okay, so bring this trim back. So hit this trim button again, and now you're going to see you have your chop selection. So you have different modes: manual, threshold, regions, BPM. I'm just going to go with the BPM right here. I think it was already set to that when I was practicing. And BPM, what it does is it chops at on the beat. All right, and so when I play it back, let's test it out. If I play it at the right tempo, I can play back each slice because it's individual slices, right? And I could play back each slice to recreate the original sample, right? All right. If I were to assign these to a drum kit, then you can play around with it, you can it's the possibilities are infinite, right? It becomes a kit. You can also isolate the individual peaks of the bass drum, the hi-hat, the snare, etc. But I won't be doing that now. That'll take a lot of time. And now, the easy way to assign these to the drum kit that we have open, or actually, it'll assign it to a new drum kit. While you're in the chop mode, if you hit the shift button, you could see that down here you have different options that appeared. There's a convert button. You hit that convert, and then what it says, it gives you the option to convert or assign slices. And right now it's going to assign slice to pad. What we want to do is toggle to new drum track using slices. Okay, so that's the one that we want to use. You can also double click here to see the options. I think this one is new, audio track from samples. I'll have to look into that. But anyways, we want to do new drum track using slices. That's good. Select, and I'm going to hit do it. And now if I go back to the main page, here we are. This is it created a new drum track, and as you can see, all the pads are lit up green. All right, so now this is a new kit. This track number 7, it's basically the pads are all the slices from the chopped up sample. Okay, but you know, I'm really going off track here. Our original thing was to assign the whole track directly to a pad. And what I'm going to do is, but I wanted to fill up all these pads first and then go to the next bank of this drum kit, so bank B. And then we're going to go back to that sample sample edit page. And I'm going to go back to the trim view, and then I'm going to hit assign. Okay, and then it gives me the choice to assign the slice to pad. Let me just make sure what the choices are. New sample to pad, assign slice to pad. We'll keep that one. Our slice is actually the whole sample, so it doesn't matter. And the pad that I'm going to use, double click on that, is actually B. I'll put it to B1. All right, and right here, B1. And slice type, pad parameters, and the track. Let's make sure it's the right track. Yep, that's the one. All right, so now I say do it. And then let's go back to the main page, and I am on track 7, which is that new drum kit. Here are my slices from before. And if I go to bank B, here is the whole sample. So that's really cool. And now the way I would incorporate this into my track, let me just mute my other audio here. Okay, go back to main. So now what I would do is I would need to record in this hit, the hit of the MIDI note, right? And so I would record arm this track, which is done. Then I would hit record, and then I'll hit play start. The metronome will count me in, and then I'm going to hit the note. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I don't have to wait for the whole thing because it's a MIDI note, right? So if we go back to the arranger, go to the drum track, there it is. Okay, this tiny note. I don't know if you could see that in blue. We can go to the grid view, and there it is. Okay, that is our drum trigger. So if I play this pad, you could see it highlighted it. Okay, and now, so now we can perform different functions on that MIDI note. So I can select it using the select tool, go back here, and let me zoom out a bit. Here's my playhead, and what I'm going to do is copy the event that's selected, and then I'm going to select with my playhead where I would like it to be pasted. So let's say over there, and shift and paste, and now we could see it right there. Of course, where I pasted it doesn't make sense. I would need to do that after 4 bars. This is just for purposes of demonstration. What else can you do with that? You can go to your different attributes, your event attributes down here. If I press on that arrow and then press on velocity, you can change the velocity of that note hit, which is cool. When you want to do that, when you want to change the velocity, you need to hit automation first. Okay, I forgot to hit automation and it was selected, nudge was selected. So I was moving my event. Don't want to do that. So automation, and now if I select the velocity, velocity is selected, okay, and then I select the note. Okay, now when I dial, there we go. Now I'm changing the velocity of the note, okay. And then, of course, if I go to any of these other events, I can nudge. Let's say you want the timing of that MIDI note to be moved a little bit. You can move this over. You can, if you want to extend the ending of your sample for whatever reason, you can do that as well. Edit end, and it will keep it, where it is, where the start, where the hit is, but it will continue firing, to wherever you extend it. Let me go back to main. So there it is. So again, once again, I think the only thing that you can do with the audio that you can't do with the MIDI note is the muting of that individual note, right? You can mute the track, but if you have shorter samples and you want to just mute that MIDI note, I haven't figured out a way to do it. I'm sure there must be a way to mute a MIDI note, but you can easily mute the audio track like I showed you, and from there it's just a preference, because like I said, you can chop up your sample, and now you can trigger individual parts of your sample. You can trigger your sample whenever you want, and it gives you more creative freedom. Whereas with the audio track, what's good about that, what I like about the audio track, is it provides a visual for me, and you can easily manipulate this audio track. You can copy and paste it wherever you want in the arranger. You can just cut out a part of it, like I showed you earlier, copy that and paste that, a short snippet of that audio. Let's say you just want the drum fill. You can cut that, edit it, make it a little audio snippet, copy, and then paste that somewhere else, and you can have those little fills. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of preference. It comes down to preference and what your process is. But now you know that you can do both ways. All right. I hope that was helpful. Sorry if I was rambling on a little bit. So stay tuned for more tutorials. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. That'll help me out a lot, and it'll let me know that I'll make more tutorials like this. That's it. So I hope you have a great rest of the week, and see you next time. Peace.